that is specifically designed for you in the business. So, and it might be a specific role in the business. So this is where we can start to load 20 documents in about the business, and you might load things like business plans, competitive research, industry reports. You might set up a board of advisors. You'll set up a key 2,000 word set of instructions and a description, and then suddenly you've got a custom GPT that's got contextual awareness about your business and gives you a much more focused and sharper output designed to serve you and the business that you're in.
Right. It has it's a source of truth that it goes back to each time. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And so building the brain, building the 20 documents is part of what we do in our programs, right? So we help people understand, okay, let's build the brain. Here's some layers that we want to approach. Here's how we might build in some of those documents by using the tools to help build the knowledge base, to load them in there so that the thing becomes so much more powerful. But they're all very similar in nature in terms of their back-end structure. So you can see the same sort of thing in Grok, instructions, files, same thing in Copilot. So Grok calls it a project, Copilot calls it an agent, Perplexity calls it a space. They're all very similar in nature. Contextual awareness with documents that serve the purpose of this particular agent or project or space that you're in, with instructions, with a detailed set of descriptions, and then therefore they become much more poignant in terms of their output.
Right.
And again, agnostic across the platforms, they can all do this in a similar way. From a program perspective, this is what we do in terms of the structure in 101. We build 4 layers to a custom GPT, and we do this in the workshop. So we give people an understanding of these different layers and why they're important. When I started building custom GPTs about 10 months or 12 months ago, I went down a deep rabbit hole in terms of, hey, chat. So again, I'm collaborating with the tool. Hey, chat, I want to build custom GPTs, and I want to build the foundations and the brains of these GPTs with some structure. Help me build the structure to this. And if I was going to put a brain foundation layer in at the bottom, what are the 5 components that you think we should be building as part of this layer 1 foundation? So it then goes through the architecture of how it's designed, its personality, which is more human in nature, the memory context, the voice, and then the thinking engine. So, which also helps with prompting. Now, I've got those 5 documents that I've saved onto, and that's been iterations of doing those and having them available. And what's interesting, and this is a great use case as well, what was interesting when Chat 5 came out, and I hadn't been building my custom GPTs with the layer 1 foundation. I'd just gone into layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. So I went back to Chat and I said, hey, I haven't used these documents in the past, 1 month or so since 05 came out.
Yeah.
Do you think that I should still do this? And that's a great question, right? Do you think this is still valuable as I build custom GPTs? And it will give you the answer, and the answer will shock you. Yep. Because it says, yes, these are all great tools to have, foundation layer. And the model says, I like these being part of what you're building. So keep doing it. So on top of that, and so, I'll provide those documents to people, but then on top of that, we then go into layer 2, is business specific intelligence. And again, whether everybody has a current up-to-date business plan or not, load that in there. If they need a hand building a new business plan with some structure, use the tools to help update and refresh your business plan. Once you've done that, load it in. Have you got any commercial models or financial targets that are up to date? Again, if you don't have them up to date, get the model, help the model build and refresh your commercial targets. So you've got those 2 documents fresh and new, and they're relevant. And then you might go to tools like Perplexity or deep research within Chat or one of the other models and go and get industry reports. So go and help me find industry reports pertinent to this business that are going to help form part of the industry report and insights section of this layer 2. And then the same thing from a competitive perspective. If you've got a business that you're in, and you want to understand And this is part of the way that I do this with competitors is I'll say to chat, hey, this is the business we're in. We want, and you might know your top 4 or 5 competitors, which is useful, right? The URLs. So I might say to chat, hey, chat, write me a prompt for Perplexity. I'm trying to develop a deep research report on this URL, and I want to know all these specifics.
Right.
And then chat will then write a very, very well-structured prompt for Perplexity. And that's a key unlock. Write me the prompt here, put it into Perplexity. Now go and get me that information that I need. And the Perplexity output is fantastic. We've got to review the competitor output. The humans got to read to verify.
Absolutely.
Right? Humans read to verify. Super important. Don't
trust
just
to verify. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't just take it, right? But then what you'll end up with out of this is 4 or 5 deep research reports on the competitors pertinent to this business. Now you can take those 4 or 5 reports, you can then take them back to chat and say, here's my competitive landscape. Now write me a detailed summary of all of the competitors because I want it in one document.
Right.
So you take 4 competitor deep research reports, synthesize them into one consolidated competitive overview and load that in. And honestly, that in itself is so transformational that the GBTs that we're building for this business now has contextual awareness to their plans, their targets, what's going on in the industry, and what the competitors are doing. It's a fucking game changer.
And how often are you suggesting that these businesses refresh that? Is that quarterly, biannually, yearly? Like,
I would say at least on a 6-month cadence.
Yeah.
At least.
It changes so fast.
Yeah, things change. So there's got to be some cadence. And the last section in layer 2, which I think is really extraordinary as well, and this came from me doing and building things in other businesses, is hey chat, and again, collaborate. Humans and AI collaborate. Hey chat, I want to build a virtual advisory team for this business. I want you to build me the profile of a chairman, a CEO, or a CMO, or a CTO, or whatever it is, whatever C-suite stack you want to have as part of your advisory team. And then chat, help me write the, as if you're writing the profile of someone. So deeply write the profile of this person that's got 25 years experience in the industry with all these different skill sets. Write me the script of that person, and then continue that to the CMO, the CTO, the CFO, whatever it is, whatever board of advisors. You could even do it, and I've seen this done as well, which is also super useful. You can use people like people who are business mentors in the market, right?
Yeah.
Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Grant, whatever. Like you could go through and say, right, build me the profile of these people, Robert Kiyosaki, like all these different types, whoever. But what you're doing is you're building the profile of these people, and you're doing the same thing. So there's 5 profiles, load them in the chat, synthesize these 5 profiles into an advisory board that I can load into my custom GPT. And again, this is transformational in terms of how this thing is going to interact with you, because we're taking the time to build this out. Okay, so then that's layer 2. Layer 3.
I'll pause you for like the industry reports. One thing that I've noticed as I build category strategies for retailers is like having the tool actually cite and like not make assumptions. So because I'm making these actual business decisions based on industry and the market, I have them cite the resources they're using, so that it actually gives me something to check and verify. It's not just making assumptions, because what I've noticed is you ask it a question, it'll pull from a bunch of different areas, and it makes these assumptions that or maybe stretches. And so having it actually cite and verify is a big unlock in the research that I've done.
Yeah, that's a great link. And what I've found in Perplexity is in the output, it gives all the sources at the bottom as links. It gives the links through the output as well, but then gives and then click on the links, look at the report. Is it valid? Verify as a humans and AI working together.
Well, and you can also give it date ranges. Like I want something that's no more than 2 years old, preference for things that are 1 year old or less.
Yes, 100%. And that's a great tweak that you might add into this layer 2 build for sure.
Yeah.
So then we go to layer 3, which is then more role specific or department specific. So then we build in, does the department have any, does the business have any OKRs? Right? It may not. What we could build them, right? So now what we've got is if we build out layer 2, and then you can then ask the models to then help you design the OKRs for the business and all the departments, right? Because now it's got full context. So department OKRs, overview of any SOPs if it doesn't have it. Again, SOPs, it'll eat that for breakfast. If you don't have SOPs and you think that it's a valid thing, hey chat, work with me. I want to build these SOPs for this department with these things in mind, et cetera, build your SOPs, and then detailed job descriptions of the person that's in that role or in that department. So then you've got layer 3 signed off. And then the last layer is then building your deep set of instructions and then your description of what the actual custom GPT is. And the way that I go through this in terms of the build, so if we just go back a few slides, the way that I go through this is once I've built the brain in the base here with the however many documents it is, it then starts to understand what it is that I'm trying to do. And then I can build the instructions with the tool, because the tool then is now understanding, oh, okay, I've got all these documents and you want me to do this. Here's your instructions. Again, read the instructions. Is it all iterate? Do you want it rewritten? Load the instructions in. And then once you've got the instructions in, because you can only have 2,000 characters, hey, chat, now build me the description, and it can only be 300 characters. Build me the description, 300 characters. Bang, and in it goes. And then once I've done this, and I've set everything up, and I press the create button, then I'll start having a conversation with it, like, can you tell me about yourself? Because I've just built the thing. Now tell me about yourself. What do you know? What don't you know? Are there any holes in your knowledge base that you think that you need?
Oh, it's smart.
Et cetera, right? So then you're having a full conversation with something that you just built. Again, this is AI and humans working together. It's transformational.